Over 20,000 years ago, wolves ventured near human settlements, drawn by the promise of food and shelter. Some grew closer, forming a bond that would change the history forever. These wolves evolved into dogs, the first domesticated animals and humanity's earliest companions. From guardians of the life to loyal friends, their journey is a story of survival, trust, and unbreakable connection. This documentary uncovers the untold history of the Indian street dog that you and me see almost every day on the streets. That little guy has a history of more than 5,300 years and even more. So let us try to understand the ancient history of the Indian street dog, one of the oldest dog breeds on the face of the earth. Before we get to the Indian street dog, we need to understand certain basics about the evolution of dog. Humans domesticated dogs over 20,000 years, recognizing their potential for hunting, protection, and companionship. Dogs offered early humans security by guarding settlements and aiding in hunting, while humans provided food and shelter. This mutually beneficial relationship allowed both species to thrive, leading the dog's evolution from wild wolf to a loyal companion today. Deeply integrated into human society for work, protection, and emotional support, man's best friend has always been a dog. Common sense begs this question of why dog has been so well domesticated than any other species. A dog is more faithful than a cat or a cow or a bull or any other animal. Why? Dogs are highly social because of their wolf ancestors. Wolves live in packs, relying on cooperation and strong bonds to survive. This pack lifestyle helped them develop communication and teamwork skills, which dog inherited. Basically, wolves love to live in company, and so are the dogs. Additionally, wolves are monogamous. They stay with one mate for life. So this loyalty and strong bond between partners became a key trait in dogs, making them naturally inclined to form close and lasting relationships with humans and other animals at home, thus guarding the safety of the crops and the cattle of the early man. And that's where this journey of the man and dog has begun. Almost every civilization, each and every civilization domesticated dogs, and here are a few important ones. Greyhounds, Egypt, 3100 BCE. Saluki, Mesopotamia, 3500 BCE. Laconian, ancient Greece, 1200 BCE. Chow Chow, ancient China, 2000 BCE. Celtic Hound, ancient Europe, 1500 BCE. Saluki, ancient Persia, 500 BCE. Talhatan Bear Dog, North America, 1600 CE. Norwegian Elk Hound, North Civilization, 800 CE. Basenji, Sub-Saharan Africa, 3000 BCE. The list is endless, but you get the point. Every civilization domesticated dog for all practical purposes. And now let's get to one of the oldest continuous running civilizations on the face of earth, Bharat, as to what kind of dog existed in Bharat and how we together, Bharat as a civilization, looked at dog. In the Indian subcontinent, for over thousands of years, the Indian Pariah dog, this breed, has been thriving in this region. I am not at all referring to any of the fancy breeds. I am just referring to the street dog. The name of this dog breed is called as the Indian Pariah dog, or Desi Kutta in Hindi, or Uru Kukka in Telugu. The Indian Pariah dog evolved naturally over thousands of years in the Indian subcontinent, shaped entirely by natural selection. Unlike modern breeds, they were not selectively bred, allowing them to develop traits essential for survival such as resilience, intelligence, and adaptability. These dogs thrived by scavenging, avoiding predators, and forming a symbiotic relationship with early human settlements. As one of the world's oldest and purest landrace breeds, the Indian Pariah dog is a symbol of natural evolution. Here are a few important aspects that we need to know about the Indian Pariah dog or the Indian street dog. First thing, like I just said, ancient origins. So the Indian Pariah dog is one of the oldest and naturally bred dog breeds without any human intervention. Number 2 is the genetic time capsule. DNA analysis show that this dog has its unique genetic markers set it apart from most of the modern selectively bred dogs. Let me explain that with a small example. Watermelon, a very red and juicy fruit that is sweet today, was not exactly the same some 1,000 years ago. The visual appeal, the taste, the fragrance, none of these were the same 1,000 years ago, all these were genetically modified to suit our palate, and as of today, we can never find that ancient watermelon how it tasted like 1,000 years ago. Now, applying the same logic here, you have lots of fancy dog breeds, but was there a dog which was 1,000 or a 2,000 or a 3, 4, 5,000 years old? Exactly that. Do we have that even today? Well, that is the Indian street dog for you, to put it simply. And then comes survival of the fittest. The Indian Pariah dog has survived for thousands of years in the harsh conditions and virtually able to digest any kind of food. Well, this is the best of all. This guy is a tough nut. He or she survived over thousands of years with whatever that he or she could get to eat. Lastly, and most important of all the four, what I would say is the guardians of heritage. The guardian of India's heritage, embodying the spirit of Hindu Dharma by preserving the ancient traditions and natural evolution. A dog is very, very crucial in Sanatana Dharma. And unfortunately, many don't realize this. I'll talk about this a little later part of this video. But all in all, this is a quick snapshot on the Indian street dog. The Indian Pariah dog, as I said, one of the oldest landrace breeds, shares a common ancestry with the dingo, New Guinea, canine, Basenji, and a lot more. These breeds trace their lineage to ancient free-ranging dogs that accompanied early human migrations. Around 15,000 years ago, as humans moved from South Asia to West Asia, Africa, and Australia, these adaptable dogs followed, serving as protectors, scavengers, and companions. In Australia, they evolved into dingo, adapting to the arid landscape. In Africa, they became Basenji, known for their unique barkless nature. In West Asia, they contributed to the lineage of the canine dog, thriving in deserts. Despite geographical differences, their shared traits, resilience, intelligence, and adaptability highlight their common evolutionary origins shaped by natural selection and human interaction. Let's turn our attention to one of the oldest civilizations, the Indus Valley civilization. Dating back over 5,000 years, it provides some of the earliest evidence of human-dog relationships in South Asia. Excavation at sites like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro have unearthed terracotta dog figurines, the one you see here with a leash or a collar around its neck, and skeletal remains offering valuable insights into the role of dogs in this ancient civilization. The terracotta figurines of the dogs found in Indus Valley civilization prove beyond doubt that they are very well domesticated in this ancient civilization. And from the skeletal remains, it is very well understood that it is the same Indian Pariah dog breed that was domesticated back in the Indus Valley civilization as well. Analysis of these bones shows evidence of their diet and physical activity, indicating their integration into human communities. Dogs may have been utilized for guarding granaries, aiding in hunting, and offering companionship in the Indus Valley civilization. All this is about a historical perspective or an understanding about human-dog relationship in the Indian subcontinent. But then what about today? What kind of relationship or a sense of bonding that we all, irrespective of whether you own a dog or not, how do we people of Bharat associate ourselves with a dog? The question sounds a bit weird, but it is not. Let me explain. In the Rig Veda, one of the oldest sacred texts of India, dogs are mentioned in connection with Yama, the god of death and afterlife. Specifically, Yama is described having two four-eyed dogs known as Shabala and Sharama's offspring, who serve as his guardians and messengers. These dogs are said to guard the path to afterlife, ensuring that the souls of the departed safely reach Yama's realm. Their four eyes symbolize heightened perception, allowing them to see both physical and spiritual realms. In some hymns of the Rig Veda, these dogs are also portrayed as protectors, guiding the departed on their journey and preventing evil spirits from interfering. The dogs of Yama hold symbolic significance in the Vedic tradition, representing loyalty, vigilance, and transition between life and death. Their role highlights the deep connection between dogs and spirituality in the ancient Indian culture. In Hinduism, Dattatreya, a revered sage and divine incarnation of the Trinity Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, is often depicted with four dogs. These dogs represent the four Vedas: Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvana Veda. These four dogs in the iconography of Dattatreya symbolize wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual teachings contained within the Vedas, which guide the followers on their journey towards enlightenment. Each dog reflects one Veda, embodying the sacred scriptures that form the foundation of Hindu philosophy and rituals. Dattatreya's association with these dogs underscores the importance of the Vedic teachings, which are believed to lead to spiritual liberation and self-realization, with these dogs as the beacons. धर्मसेतुपालकं त्वधर्ममार्गनाशकं कर्मपाशमोचकं सुशर्मदायकं विभुं स्वर्णवर्णकेशपाशशोभिताङ्गमण्डलं काशिकापुराधिनाद कालभैरवं भजे. Kalabhairava, a fierce form of Lord Shiva, is often depicted with a dog as his companion. In fact, the word Kalabhairava, or simply Bhairava, Bhairava is twofold, Bhai and Rava. Rava means sound, and the one which makes a sound that starts with Bha is called as Bhairava. It's basically a dog. Lord Shiva, in the form of Kalabhairava, is often depicted with a dog, which symbolizes loyalty, protection, and faithful guide through the cycles of life, death, and Dharma. The dog as Kalabhairava's companion embodies the idea of Dharma, the righteous path that ensures justice, cosmic order, and spiritual integrity. The dog's presence reflects vigilance in maintaining balance and guiding souls through their inevitable transition of life and death. Kalabhairava, with his dog, not only oversees the passage of time and the afterlife, but also upholds Dharma, ensuring that the moral laws are adhered to, even in the face of destruction and transformation. Even today, if you go to Varanasi, the worship of Kalabhairava is older than the time itself. And this is another instance as to how Bharat is associated with dog. The final moments of the Mahabharata narrates the journey of Pandavas to the Himalayas, seeking the ultimate goal of moksha. As they begin their ascent, Yudhishthira, the eldest Pandava, leads the way, accompanied by his brothers and a dog. This dog, initially unknown, follows them as they embark on their journey, but its role becomes significant as the story unfolds. Long story short, at one point, Yudhishthira is asked to abandon this dog, but he refuses to do so, because he says that the dog sought refuge in him and he would protect and not abandon the dog at any cost. Even that cost could be his life. In this epic moment, Yamadharmaraja reveals himself from the dog, saying that he wanted to test Yudhishthira if he would stand for dharma or lean towards moksha. And undoubtedly, Yudhishthira stood for dharma. In this moment, once again, the dog is revered as the manifestation of dharma. The Indian Pariah dog, from a cultural and traditional and spiritual standpoint, we looked at it as a symbol, or rather a custodian of Jnanam, Kalam, and Dharmam. Jnana, the knowledge, Kalam, time and death, and Dharmam, the righteousness. This is how, in Hinduism, a dog is looked at. People often associate only cow to be a sacred animal, which is not wrong. While cow has its own significance in Sanatana Dharma, dog also has its own significance and symbolism in Sanatana Dharma. Whether you care for it or not care for it, this little guy, the Indian Pariah dog, be it historically or culturally, is always coming with us. In different forms, in different manifestations, in different symbolisms, carrying different kinds of philosophies. The dog is very much an integral part of Sanatana Dharma. The ancient Vedic thought about dog in Sanatana Dharma reaches its peak in Yajurvedam. Namah Swabhya Swapatibhya Savo Namo. Namaskaram to Rudra, who is in a dog and is a protector of dogs. Yajurvedam says that every dog is a manifestation of Shiva, and Shiva is the protector of all the dogs. Now, this has been the thought about dogs in Bharat over the last couple of minutes that I explained. Now, let us take a step back towards the global picture. You will find a very interesting phenomenon, or rather a pattern, about dogs. In the Greek folklore, there is a dog called Kerberos, a three-headed dog guarding the gates of the underworld, prevents the dead from leaving it and living from entering the underworld. It is a mythical dog in the Greek folklore that is the custodian of the underworld. As a quick side note, the security protocol that we have, Kerberos, is named after this dog. Same way, Anubis in Egyptian folklore, it is the god of mummification and afterlife, guardian of tombs, and guides the souls of the dead in their afterlife. Basically, in the Egyptian folklore, the dog Anubis is revered as the god of death. Now switching to the North European folklore or the Norse folklore, Garmr, a fearsome hound that guards the world of the dead. Pretty much exactly the same. And in English folklore, Shuk, harbinger of death and misfortune, with glowing eyes and a chilling presence. You can already see the pattern in all these folklores, in all these ancient traditions, including that of Bharat. A dog is always associated with death and afterlife. And not just these 4-5 civilizations, there are many other cultures and ancient traditions which associate dog with death all over the world, over thousands of years. This is an unexplainable pattern. Let me tell you why. A dog which has been our best friend and a good companion throughout the life. It is quite natural to associate that with something positive, something good. But how is that all these ancient traditions are associating dog with death and afterlife? That is a very weird and interesting pattern. The Indian Pariah dog is a great example of why Bharat is a civilization. The Indian Pariah dog has journeyed alongside humanity through the ages, embodying loyalty, resilience, and protection. Mentioned in the Vedas and worshipped with Kalabhairava, it has long been a custodian of Dharma. This faithful companion has survived through civilizations, offering guidance and safeguarding lives. You care for it or don't care for it, a dog always followed a man. More than just a dog, it represents the enduring bond between humankind and nature, a symbol of unwavering devotion and spiritual connection across time. In Sanatana Dharma, in Bharat, the Indian Pariah dog is definitely an integral part and a beacon of Dharma. If you like this documentary and if you feel that I'm talking sense, then visit projectshivahome.com. It is a content platform where I produce these kinds of documentaries and write blogs about the ancient and forgotten history of Bharat, which are deeply researched and 100% factual. Do visit and subscribe to projectshivahome.com. And as always, thanks for watching.